It's a jam-packed Monday edition of Phinside The NFL, as we are going to go over my offensive guard big board for the 2026 NFL draft, and we're going to continue it. We are going to do mock draft Monday right after we get out of the big board. So we got a lot of content jam-packed in this episode. Let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead. Let's get right into this. What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we're back here for another one. I appreciate each and every one of you coming through on this episode. Please do me the favor, smash that like button. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. It really goes a long way on these type of episodes, especially because, you know, the YouTube demonetization man is coming for me due to this big board. But hey, I never sacrifice quality for the almighty dollar over here. So we're going to give you my offensive guard big board. I also want to say, if you didn't check it out, if you missed it over the weekend, I dropped my full interview with Jordan Reid. He talked about Spencer Fano and his report on Spencer Fano being eyed by the Miami Dolphins at 11. He also talked about a player y'all need to be keeping your eyes on at 11 or trade up from 30. And it's a player I've been talking about for months since this new regime took over. It's a player I've been telling you, I don't want it, but I see it. I understand the vision. I get it. And sure enough, Jordan Reid out of nowhere said, hey, you got to watch this player. So he also gave you a day 3 sleeper based on Dolphins needs to watch. It was a very great episode. You're not going to find a more informative draft episode in the community right now than that one. And I say that with a lot of confidence. It's a great episode with one of the best in the business, Jordan Reid. So go check it out. But let's not waste another single solitary second. Let's go ahead and let's get into my big board for the draft, because the question is, should the Miami Dolphins double dip at guard? You know, you look, there's multiple positions they could double dip at. Guard, edge, receiver. Receiver does seem the most likely, but guard is another position where if you got the chance, double dip. You know, if you got the chance, make sure and double dip. Now, I don't think you know, if you get Moe Noah, or if you go get, you know, if you go get Olai Vavanga Ioane, if you go get him in the first round, if you go get one of those two guys, you know, if you go get Ioane, or if you go get Moe Noah, or if you get Spencer Fano with that 11 or trade back, then okay, at 30, don't double dip. What I'm saying is, if, you know, you go get Ioane, you go get Moe Noah, you go get Fano, and then you turn around with that 75 pick or a pick in the 90s, or, you know, whatever, right in there, or even at 130 if a guy falls. If you see a guard that falls in that range from 75 to 130, that makes a lot of sense. Pull the trigger. Keep adding. You know, we got no depth there. So, anyways, it's a position that should be at the top of the list of double dip. I think priority, honestly, I think it should be higher than wide receiver. I actually think guard should be the priority double dip. I mean, there's nothing there at all. Receivers, okay. Is Jalen Tolbert much? No, but before George Pickens came, he showed he could be a viable number 2 or a 3. You know, I don't want to say top end on either of those, but he's viable is a good word. I think Malik's going to continue to grow, you know? So do we have nothing? No. Do we have a lot? No. You know, I think, well, really both need positions, but guard, man, you got to protect Malik. You know, you got to protect Malik. He's got all that athleticism, but you got to protect him. All right. So let's get into my guard big board. And let's, as usual with every big board, let's start off with my honorable mentions for each and every one of you guys. And really for me, it starts with, you're going to see a lot of tackle converts on this list. I'm just forewarning you. But Keegan Tross is where it starts at for me, 6'4", and he is 5'8", 311. 311 in terms of weight. He's played primarily right tackle at Missouri, but I think he best projects kicking into the interior at the next level. He does have some 2021 and 2022 reps at right and left guard from when he was at Indiana State. Pretty fleet-footed on film. I like Truss power because once he clamps down on you, he's moving you at will. It moves well, looks for work, and can be disruptive against defenders on the second level. Has the anchor to take on power rushers. He's a very good run blocker too, I think. He's experienced having played at 3 different levels of competition in college. He played in the FCS, the ACC, and the SEC. So now where's he at? Hips are stiff, not a ton of bend. Average athlete, average agility on film. Arm length isn't that great. Wingspan is actually much better than the arm length. Lets defenders across his face too easily. Shifty speed rushers with a bag of pass rush moves are an issue for him. And he's going to be like 25 a week before the draft. Convert though. Micah Morris, I got him at 14. Listen, he's a big man. All right. 6'4", 5'8", and he's like 334 pounds. But he moves so well for a player that size. I mean, the guy had a 5.09 40, a 2.91 20-yard split, and a 1.73 10-yard split. Crazy at the combine. It's noticeable when he's moving in space or he's pulling. You see it on film. He also didn't allow a single sack during his career at Georgia and only 11 pressures over the last 3 seasons. He could play both left guard or right guard. Quite a bit of experience playing both while with the Bulldogs. His functional strength and anchor are evident, which is why his 29 bench reps at the combine didn't really surprise me either. He's got heavy, violent hands that can rattle a defender if he lands his initial punch. Shows good communication and post-snap IDing to not fall victim for stunts, twists, all that stuff. And he's a guy you take on day 3, betting on the traits and upside. You bet on that stuff with this guy. Now, here's the things I don't like. Doesn't have a high-level motor at all. Pad level can get way too high. Exposes his chest too often to defenders. Hands are heavy, but that placement is very inconsistent. And they get way too wide for my liking. Too consistently, they get way too wide. And for a man that size with that kind of power, I just don't see that. You're going to see a lot of guys in the top 10. I like that violent killer instinct. And I don't see that with Micah Morris. He's not looking to finish every playoff with an impact. Now, Cage Casey, I got him at 13. He's 6'5", 3/4, 310 pounds. And, though he played left tackle the majority of his time at Boise State with some right tackle reps as freshman, I do think he best projects as a guard at the next level. What I like about him is he displays more than sufficient enough power as a pass blocker when he lands that initial punch, or as a run blocker when he's displacing defenders to open lanes up. His anchor looks sturdy on film, good communicator, pre-snap and post-snap idea. And if he gets his hands placed well inside the defender's chest plate, he can lock him up. Now, he isn't a great athlete, especially in space, which you could mask more on the interior. Feet aren't overly quick. Doesn't move well laterally. I mean, well, I don't want to say well. Doesn't move great laterally. Let's say that. His length isn't great either. His arms are just under 33 inches. So the threshold he's just under that threshold of 33 inches. It's like 32 3/4, I think. He can get beat when he oversets as a tackle, especially to the inside. And Casey gets beaten with speed really easily off the edge too, which again, you can hide those issues on the interior a lot easier than you can by putting him out on an island, right? So number 12 for me, Fabechi Nwayu, out of Oklahoma. He is 6'4", 1/4, 319 pounds. Nwayu is a mountain of a human being with a wide frame that he's an absolute powerhouse. He has a really solid anchor when he drops his butt, making him very hard to move off his spot. Nwayu, he's got a high level IQ with good pre-snap and post-snap diagnosing, picking up and passing off stunts, twists, understanding where the pressure is coming from. And he communicates well too. He has a motor that runs like the Energizer Bunny. He never takes a rep off. I love that about him. And I also like he's always looking for work. He's always looking to take on a defender. So he was primarily a right guard at Oklahoma, but he did take some snaps at left guard and right tackle too. And he didn't allow a sack in 2025. He actually only allowed 2 pressures in total. Now, he isn't a great athlete. I don't think he moves overly well laterally. Feet, they look like they get caught in quicksand when, and they look moving slow at times. So I think he fits a power gap run scheme better than his own because of those things I just mentioned, especially the athleticism and those feet. And I think he is a better pass protector than run blocker right now. He needs a lot of improvement technique-wise as a run blocker. 11, Billy Schrauth out of Notre Dame. He's 6'4", 3/4, 310 pounds. He has ideal frame for a guard. Plays very physical. Can play either guard position like he did at Notre Dame. Now, I think he's a better pass blocker than run blocker. He has a solid anchor. Didn't allow a single sack with only 2 pressures over the first 8 weeks of the season when he was healthy in 2025. So he displays some real power when he times his punch well. His hand placement, I think it's gotten better year after year. His upper body strength is pretty good. That helps him hold and sustain his blocks. Frequently picks up stunts, twists, etc. He displays the mental processing you like to see from an interior player. I think he has underrated mirroring ability too. And Shroud, he has that killer instinct I mentioned earlier that I didn't see with a guy like Micah Morris. So a guy like Schrauth, he will finish off every block. So now the issue is when he doesn't time his punch, it leads to trouble for him. He's not a great recoverer at all. And I think he needs to keep building out his frame and functional strength with the run game in mind, because powerful interior defenders, they do seem to give him issues. Another thing is injuries have hurt his growth as a player, and I don't think he's at his best when he's pulling in space. So my top 10, I got to start. I'm really high on him. Caden Barnett out of Wyoming, AKA the Vanilla Gorilla. He's one of my favorite guard prospects. He just missed making my man crush list. 6'3", 7/8, 316 pounds. So 6'3 3/4, right? Boasts 33 and 3-inch arms, packs powers that, he shows off that power by being a constant physical presence. And Barnett is a very good athlete. That combine testing led to a 9.53 relative athletic score, which is very good. It's elite. He best projects as right guard at the next level, where he got a lot of time at in 2025 with Wyoming. But before that, he was predominantly a right tackle. So Barnett displays great vice grip like hands that can latch on and displace defenders easily. While I love how he looks to finish off every rep with some violence. There's that thing I love again. And I know all you do. Barnett's a plus run blocker who can maul defenders at the point of attack. His anchor is quite strong, allowing him to absorb bull rushes and hold his ground against power rushers in general. And he's probably best suited for power gap run heavy offense. Now, when Barnett lands that initial punch, look out. You see the power, and then you see the defender's life flash before his eyes. He's disciplined, not a penalty machine. He's durable. He hasn't missed a game the last 2 seasons as a starter. He was viewed as one of the top leaders in the Wyoming locker room, and he was also named the Mountain West All-Second Team in 2025. His first season at guard, right? So the growth is for real there, and the potential is even, the ceiling is for real there too. Now, I don't think he's quite there as a pass blocker yet, even though he only gave up 1 sack in 2025. That said, I do think kicking inside permanently will help mask some of his deficiency, like, his average at best ability to reset when trying to recover, or how he isn't the most fluid moving laterally. Barnett also needs to work on keeping his pad level low more consistently. And for as violent as he is, I think he needs to be finishing off his assignment when climbing to the second level much better than what I saw on film. So number 9 for me, Jennings Dunker. Dunker's much more than a fancy redneck haircut. He's a player that was part of Iowa's offensive line, which won the 2025 Joe Moore Award as the best offensive line in football. Though I think he projects best moving from tackle inside to guard at the next level. And Dunker could be a legitimate starter for an NFL team by year 2 or 3, I think. He's 6'4", 3/4, 319 pounds, good, not great athlete. He has good enough length I think he's at best run blocking, where he can display his power, heavy hands that can lock on a defender and turn defenders out of lanes. And, really, he has a fantastic wide frame that he can continue to fill out, but he already displays a strong anchor and good balance with it, I think. He can fit both zone and a power gap scheme. I think given his strength, ability to take great angles and play in space, I think he's actually decent in space. His movement ability is more than adequate enough for him to be effective when pulling. And he has that nasty demeanor you love to see that will put a defender on their ass with a pancake block. Always keeps his legs driving, which you love to see. The motor and competitive spirit runs high on this guy. Plays at a good pad level, allowing him to hold his own in leverage battles. And he's shown the ability to post-snap ID stunts, twists, etc. And he's also shown the ability to communicate well to pass off defenders. Now, I don't think he is overly great when it comes to moving laterally. And you really see it when he struggles to mirror speed-based rushers. The hips aren't overly fluid. He isn't great at recovering if he mistimes his punch or his beat with initial burst or quickness. Lunges a bit too often for my liking, and his hand placement isn't consistent enough. He does land them too wide too often for me. So, yeah, but I like him. I see the upside, man. I really do. I think it'll be a little bit of a learning curve for him, but I think he's a guy you kick inside for sure at the next level. Number 8 for me, his teammate, back-to-back Joe Moore award-winning Iowa lineman, just feels right. Though I may be higher on Bo Stevens than most, I love the power and torque he shows when he gets his hands latched onto a defender's chest plate. He's looking to toss them to the curb like yesterday's trash. He's 6'5", 5'8", 315 pounds, mainly played left guard at Iowa, though in 2022 he started at right guard. He has that nasty side to him like Dunker and all Iowa linemen do when they're looking to take your head off until the whistle. He's super disciplined with only 2 penalties, 1 in each of the last 2 seasons, the last 3 years. He hasn't given up a sack since 2022, and he's only allowed 13 pressures since 2023. He has a solid anchor, has smooth hips and feet, which allow him to be effective pulling or climbing to the second level, seeking work. His punch will downright rock a defender when it lands. He takes good, smart angles, and Stevens, I think, can fit either a power gap or his own offense. I think his hand placement is good and consistent. He shows a little explosion out of his stance with his first step. I love the leg drive and motor a lot too. He's a great combo blocker, passes off defenders with ease, handles stunts and twists. There's just a lot to like on his film. And I thought he was arguably Iowa's best offensive lineman in 2025. Now, arm length at 31 and 1/8 is not ideal. Like Dunker, he's been susceptible to lunging. He can overset, leading to him giving up the inside. He's a 5th-year senior that will be 24 in November. Had significant injury in 2023 that ended his season. Missed 1 game in 2024 and had an ankle injury in that 2024. That's what he missed the game with. And he was banged up in 2025, but he did fight through it. But man, I thought he was. If you're high on Dunker, how are you not high on Bo Stevens? Number 7, Jalen Farmer. Now, Farmer is 6'4" and 3/4, 312 pounds, and a very high-level athlete. Great functional strength, as seen by his fantastic testing numbers, where he put up 37 bench reps of 225 pounds. He had a 9-inch broad jump, ran an incredible 4.93 40-yard dash, as well as a 2.88 20-yard split and a 1.75 10-yard split, which, to be honest, none of it was surprising because that power and great movement ability, it's backed up on film. He also has great length to his really solid frame with 34.25-inch arms. His hands are consistently placed well, but they also pack a lot of power that can stop a defender dead in their tracks if he gets a grip. He lands that initial punch, it's over. Or if they open their chest up, it's over. He's like that. Plays at a consistently good pad level, keeps his legs constantly driving, and unlike a bunch of prospects before him we've mentioned, Farmer's ability to recover and reset, I think, is very good. His lateral movement is also better than a bunch of the guards we've mentioned recently too. There's no stiffness, just fluidity to his hips, and he sets a sturdy anchor when he drops his butt. So power rushers aren't much of a problem. Plus his athleticism and length, he's able to mirror speed rushers, and he keeps them at bay or with that length too. So he can also get to that second level looking for the work. You love that. He's only 21. He can play in a gap or his own scheme due to his traits alone. As long as he continues to refine his technique, let's just be honest, he's a very high upside future starter in this league that is going to make an offensive coordinator and a team very happy in the future. Now, feet can be a little bit more heavy rather than quick on some pass pro reps I noted. He can be over aggressive, which leads to balance issues. As rattling as punch can be, he doesn't always time it that well. We've seen another few guard prospects have that same profile, right? Big time punch. When they don't time it, it's an issue, but he can recover. So, right. Now, I think he can be susceptible to inside counters, and he needs to be better at picking up stunts and twists and really late pressure in general, I think. Number 6 to me, Caleb Tiernan. He's another college offensive tackle prospect that I think will find his best success at the next level, kicking inside the guard. 6'7" and 3/4, 323 pounds. And on film, he looks like a pretty good athlete, even though he didn't do all the testing at the combine. I think he's a pretty good pass blocker with a reliable, sturdy anchor that allows him to take on power rushers when he drops it. Good knee bend, too. His hand placement is always very good and consistent. They are vice grip-like hands. So when he latches, he can move defenders at his will, and he can sustain his blocks with them, too. So he keeps his pad level low. He isn't at a leverage disadvantage more often than not, which you like to see. And Tiernan is a really good player at timing his strikes, something we've talked about other guys in this class so far haven't been good at. You can see how competitive and how hot his motor runs by how he's always looking for work. Speaking of, I think he moves to the second level pretty well. His footwork is good when he climbs, goes into his kick slide, or when he's mirroring a rusher in space. Tiernan also frequently takes good angles. No issues really for Tiernan when taking on stunts, twists, all that stuff. Passing off defenders, no issue for him. Has good body positioning consistently. Was a team captain for Northwestern as a senior, so there's some leadership traits there. And Tiernan has a clean bill of health entering the NFL, as he never really battled injuries in college, so you know he's just durable, right? His biggest issue is he has guard level length to his frame, which is why I think he kicks inside at the next level. You see it when he takes on longer rushers who get into his chest because of it. Not a ton of power in his hands, and thus behind his punches strikes. I think from a technique to strength standpoint, he needs to get better as a run blocker. And I don't think he's a top tier guy when it comes to recovery ability. So let's get into my top 5 guys in this class. And let's start off with Chase Bisontis. He started off at right tackle when he was at the Aggies with some right guard reps before settling at left guard the last 2 seasons. Just over 6'5", weighs in at 315. Very good athlete with some functional strength, too, that's really good, which has all the testing that backed up those thoughts. He ran a 5.02 40-yard dash at his size, had a 2.9-yard 20-yard split, along with a 1.76 10-yard split, a 32-inch vert, a 7.53 cone, and he had 29 bench reps at 225 pounds. He shows explosiveness with his first step and how quickly he can get out of his stance. He has very strong and heavy hands that he keeps him very active. His punch is staggering, and I also think Bisontis is effective on reach blocks, combo blocks, pins and pulls, all that good stuff. Has the core strength and anchor to absorb bull rushes from power rushers, and his feet are very fleet-footed. Moves laterally very well to mirror speed rushers. He consistently maintains a good pad level too. He doesn't have many issues sustaining his blocks, while Bisontis also displays good balance with taking on contact. I think he's an ideal fit for his own blocking scheme. Love the hip bend and fluidity to his frame when he drops his anchor too. So he has a high motor, and you know you're getting a competitive player who would give you his blood, sweat, and tears on every rep he plays for you. Needs to clean up the penalties. He had 16 in the last 2 seasons and 19 in the 3 seasons at Texas A&M. Arm length isn't overly ideal. He's another one in this class who can get caught out of position lunging. Though his feet are quick, the footwork can get sloppy into his kick slide, and Bisontis just needs to place his hands consistently a little bit more. He has room to grow as a technician, I think, from the position as well, but it's evident the upside with this kid is very high. Chase Bisontis is probably going to fall in that 30 to 43 range, and I think he's going to be a great, great pro at the next level. I really do. So when you watch him take on speed and power, you're really impressed. So, and I'm just a big fan of Chase Bisontis, and he's a guy that if they want to target, I'm all for it. Number 4 for me, Keelan Rutledge. He's one of my favorite players in this whole draft and was one of my top early man crushes picks for the list, regarding this draft. So I'm obviously high on him, as I have a top of the second round grade on him too. So I really shouldn't be shocked there's buzz of him landing in the 30 to 32 range of the first round. I just thought he was a better kept secret, when the reality seems the NFL is much higher on him than even people like me are. Built like a brick SHIT house, 6'3", 3/4, 316 pounds, bulky wide frame that has good length to it, 33 1/4 arms, and an 80-inch wingspan. A lot of power and physicality behind it that he pairs with that nasty take your head off, feed my family type of demeanor you love to see. Plus, as seen by the combine testing that backed up his film, he's very smooth, fluid mover, 5.05 40-yard dash, 32.5-inch vert, 4.54 shuttle, 7.54 3-cone. Those are all elite testing numbers for his size and the guard position. He's a bulldozer and pass pro and as a run blocker. There's just no other way around it. He's got a firm base and strong anchor. His hands are 10 inches, but heavy enough that they hit defenders like a pair of cinder blocks, while his placement stays consistent and inside, not too far out wide. The grip strength he displays is top tier in my opinion. His punch can rock a defender's world, displacing them easily, as he also times his strikes very well. He doesn't take a rep off and looks to finish every play off through the whistle. He's only gave up 1 sack and 6 pressures in each of the last 2 seasons at Georgia Tech. Primarily played right guard, but had some snaps at left guard while he was a freshman at Middle Tennessee. Widely regarded as not only a player that's coachable and a leader, but also tough as nails in terms of fighting through injury, while Rutledge also has plenty of high IQ reps in pass pro and as a run blocker with taking good angles, passing off defenders, post-snap IDs. Though non-football related foot injury in 2024 from a car accident, falls victim to playing too high with his pad level sometimes. I do think there's some reps where he needs to sustain his blocks in space a little better. And though he's a good mover that's fleet-footed, sometimes the footwork isn't consistent enough on film for me. Now, number 3 for me is Emmanuel Pregnon. He's 6'4", 3/8", 313 pounds, has good length and width to his frame, moves well, and is overall a good athlete for a man that size. The majority of his 2025 snaps came at left guard while at Oregon, but he does have a good amount of right guard snaps from his 2022 season at Oregon before being shifted to the opposite side in 2023 when he transferred to USC. Heck, he even took left tackle and right tackle reps in 2025 too. I think he doesn't get enough praise for how good of a pass protector he is because of Ioane, but people seem to forget he only gave up 1 sack over the last 3 seasons between USC and Oregon. He plays with a lot of core strength with strong leg drive and really embraces the physical aspect of the game as he's looking to finish off every block he makes with a bang. Pregnon moves really well laterally, allowing him to mirror rushers, has high end grip strength so he can latch onto a defender and displace them with pure power to open a lane in the run game. That power also shows up in his well-timed punches that can send a defender to Mars. The hand placement is also good enough too. In fact, overall, he's pretty polished technique-wise from his feet all the way to his hands. No issues with diagnosing stunts, twists, passing off defenders. Climbs to the second level pretty well and pretty quickly. The demeanor seems to get nastier when he does, too. I think he fits both gap and zone schemes along with Fano and Ioane. I think Pregnon is a high-floor player. If I'm nitpicking, Pregnon can have balance issues every now and then from what I saw. He's a good, not great athlete. I'd say his biggest area for improvement will actually be sustaining his blocks because he's susceptible to being inconsistent in that area. And I think he's going teams might knock him for the fact that he's going to be a 25-year-old rookie. I think that's a real thing too. But man, he is a fantastic player. I don't know if he gets by the Chargers at 22. I really don't. He's a fantastic player, Emmanuel Pregnon is. And any team would be lucky to have him. Very high floor player, man. For sure. No doubt about it. Number 2 for me, Spencer Fano. Do I think Spencer Fano should get a shot at tackle first? Yes. Do I believe he will eventually settle in on the interior? Also, yes. Fano seems to fit the mold of a player that can be a Pro Bowler at tackle, but, maybe a Pro Bowler at tackle, but an all-pro if you move inside. So at 6'5", 5'8", 311 pounds, Fano is absolutely an elite athlete for size, and you see it on film. He's such a smooth, fluid mover, especially in space. Very good in pass pro. His hands are patiently used and consistently placed well. He's only allowed 3 sacks in 3 years in college, only won the last 2 seasons. He's played with solid footwork and a great pad level. He's arguably the best run blocker in this class too. Latches and displaces defenders. Is very effective in reaching combo blocks. Not only does he climb to the second level well too, but because of how good of an athlete he is, but he also helps it helps him as a big time puller in the run game, I think. So he's very good puller in the run game. Fano may not be the strongest guy ever, but he does have a bit of that nasty side to him. I think he can work in a gap or zone offense. He's a smart player with good spatial awareness and diagnosing ability too. There's quite a lot to like about Fano's game. Some see him as a better overall fit as a center, given where his anchor is currently at, instead of having to constantly deal with power in a phone booth. His length screams interior player, not franchise tackle. His arm length is 8th percentile. His hand size is 9th percentile. He's susceptible to the inside counters. That's how David Bailey beat him when they faced off with Texas Tech. And Fano needs to cut back on the penalties with 16 the past 3 seasons. He just starts holding when he's beat clean and can't recover. But listen, I see it. I think he does have the frame to improve his anchor and to build it out. It's just, if he will, at the next level. So he's a very interesting prospect. I can see the parallels people have with Will Campbell here on this situation. I get it. You know what I mean? Number one for me is Oliva Vanga Ioane. And months ago on this channel and then on social media, I'd proclaimed that along with Kenyon Sadiq, Vega Ioane was a top target for me if Miami traded back out of number 11. But as the process has gone on, Ioane has settled in as someone I think fits the bill of a home run pick at 11, even if guard isn't viewed as a premium position, especially if Downs, Moinoa, Styles, Bain Jr., all those guys are gone. Because as I've said multiple times since 2025, Ioane might not be only the safest pick in this draft, man, he has really the potential to be one of the best linemen in this class when it's all said and done. 6'4" and a quarter, 320 pounds, has an elite anchor with elite functional strength to match, allowing him to absorb bull rushes and take on power rushes. He's not only an absolute unit of a human being, but he's a definition of a mauler, especially in the run game where he's an effective downhill blocker, drive blocker, combo blocker, and when used in reach blocks, shows great nonstop leg drive, though mainly as a left guard at Penn State. Ioane has quite a few snaps at right guard as well, while he's also taking snaps at both tackle spots. He can swallow speed rushers up with that massive 80 and 5-inch wingspan. You know, if he's an elite run blocker, then he's a great pass protector because, in my opinion, he got active hands and they're consistently well placed. They're also like vice grips, and his punch strike, you know, those punches and strikes hit like a sledgehammer when it lands. The footwork is quick. He moves well laterally. And I think he's arguably the most powerful lineman in this class at the point of attack. Ioane has high-end diagnosing and recognition ability, spatial awareness. The motor never stops with this kid, and he's probably best suited in the gap scheme, but I think he can play in zone. Wingspan is great, but the arm length is not. He's a good athlete for his size, but he's not elite by any means. The pad level can raise and give him leverage issues, while I also worry about his range if asked to work on the off edge on zone runs, but I think he could do it. He's a stud, man. Give me Ioane all day, baby. So Vanga Ioane, I mean, he's much better than Tyler Booker was, and look at how high Tyler Booker went last year to the Cowboys. Vega Ioane, listen, I think he's best suited for a power gap, and like I said, I got concerns with him working off the edge on zone runs, but man, I mean, you guys saw the rep of him pulling from the slot and annihilating the defender. I mean, the guy can move for a man that size. He can move, man. He can move, and I'm sure with NFL diet training, you know, he can slim down and then move a little quicker. So I'm not worried. You see, that kid is elite in all facets. I was nitpicking to find the weaknesses in Ioane's game. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was nitpicking. I mean, wow. Like I said, and have been saying for months, ceiling of the best lineman in this class, but also arguably what, him and Caleb Downs are maybe the safest picks in the first round of this draft. All right. It is mock draft Monday. We're going to continue that theme, and we're going to switch it up. Instead of using PFF, we're going to use A to Z this time around, and we are going to see what they got over here. I got some friends that work over there, so let's see what their mock draft simulator got for us. So it's mock draft Monday. Let's do a 7-round mock draft and try to fix the Miami Dolphins. All right. Let's try and fix the Miami Dolphins. So let's go ahead. We got 7 rounds. There we go. All right, let's go. Let's see what we got. Let's start the draft. So Caleb Downs has fallen to us at number 11. Let's go ahead and let's use that. Take Caleb Downs right there. Wow. Here we go. At number 30, what's fallen to us? Kidding me? what's on the interior here. Let's go ahead. Wide receiver. Is that edge? Parker's eye. All right, I know it's back to back. I really like. I'm gonna take Chris Johnson here. Trades are available this time around, so let's see what we got. I can trade back 2 spots and get 96. Let's do that. Let's trade back. I'll trade back 2 spots. Look it, and I didn't lose who I wanted to, and I got more trade offers. Pick 34. I'm gonna make the pick here though. I'm gonna take Chris Johnson, and look it, I didn't lose anything. All right. Now here I am at 43. I'm gonna take. Man, listen, we got to go offense here in some way, shape, or form. You know what? Let's roll the dice. I like what my options are at guard coming up. I'm not going to get Hurst. I'm going to take Chris Brazell right here. Let's go. Now I'm going to be targeting offensive line. Rutledge and Farmer are going to probably be who I'm targeting here. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to take Keelan Rutledge. If Jalen Farmer is there, I'm taking Jalen Farmer. Let me see what's available. Wow. AJ Halsey, look at Jacob Rodriguez has dropped too. I am going to take Jacob Rodriguez. Ooh. I am going to take Jalen Farmer. I am going to turn around and who are my receivers available all day? I'm going to take Bryce Lance. Tight ends available. It's my next pick. I'm going to take Oscar Delp. Thank you very much. Oh boy. All right. So look at this. This has been ridiculous. This pull we've pulled so far. Are you kidding me right now? What do we got? Trade offers. Meh. I like some of the guys that are available on the board right now. All right. What do we got at DT here? Landon Robertson is someone that I'm eyeing right now. For sure. We don't need receiver. We don't need tight end. I could add a tackle right now. I could add Markel Bell. Right? That makes sense a lot right now. Markel Bell would make sense. Edge. That's where I'm probably going to take Nadame Tucker at 151. So now that I'm locked in on Nadame Tucker at 151, I got to be smart with what I'm going to do here. I am probably going to go ahead and I'm really high on Landon Robinson. And, we just did a pretty big run there. So I'm going to take Landon Robinson. Hold on, we got a corner left. Malik Muhammad's there too. That's insane value. Oh man, that's insane value. I'm just value-wise, I'm going to take Malik Muhammad. Okay, well, now I know what I'm eyeing. I'm going to eye Markel Bell, who's gone. That's fine. And Landon Robinson's gone too. What's available at edge? So I'm probably gonna just take. I'm gonna take Ndamukong Tucker because I'm huge on him. I'm huge on Ndamukong Tucker. Let's go take Ndamukong. So I lost Landon Robinson. Hey, the value on Malik Muhammad was ridiculous though. And if there's one position you can pass up on, and I can be like, okay, I missed out on Landon Robinson, it's defensive tackle. Last draft we did was very defensive heavy. This one has been had its fair share of offense, that's for sure. Ooh. Oh, did we already took a tight end? John Michael Gillenborg would ooh. That's really good value. I'm not gonna lie. Carver Willis, but I mean, he's gonna be a guard at the next level. Yeah, I'm gonna take the values there. That's a guy you bet on if he falls you at 227. I'm not gonna lie. Carver Lewis probably would be the pick there for them. That's for sure. Take a quarterback. Let's add a quarterback to the room. Let's go with who Jordan Reid mentioned. I'm not overly massive on him. But let's go with who Jordan Reid liked as a fit. I would be betting on the traits and the upside here with Jaden Daniels. That's where I'd be going. But let's switch it up and let's take what Jordan Reid suggested at quarterback late for the Dolphins as a fit. Wow, this was a fantastic draft. Could have taken Jager Burton too. So I got a B. Look at Malik Muhammad got an A minus just because the value was crazy there. But I mean, really? I mean, tell me where you're mad at right now. I mean, I moved back 2 spots and I still got Chris Johnson. You know, look at our secondary right now, right? And I added, look at what I did to our second level and our third level. Jacob Rodriguez, if you're going to move off Jordan Brooks or you're going to keep Jordan Brooks, that's a positive for Jacob Rodriguez. Either way. Wow, this is a really good draft, people. I'm a B for what we need and where we're at. Let's go. I'm really happy with that. Let me know down in the comments, what would you grade that draft and where are you at with that draft? I'm really happy with that draft. I'm not going to lie to each and every one of you. It's a good draft, huh? Ladies and gentlemen, do me the favor, smash that like button, subscribe if you are new. We're going to be back tomorrow for all of y'all, so be out on the lookout for that. I have Devin Jackson stopping by this week as well, draft analyst from the Philly Inquirer, one of the best follows on X. Go check him out. He's stopping back by for his annual draft visit. I'm working on something for Friday and a couple other possible guests before we get to the draft. So a lot of content coming your way. As ladies and gentlemen, we are 10 days away from the NFL draft. Unbelievable. I can't wait. Can't wait. And the draft content is only going to keep ramping up. My safety big board will be dropping very soon for each and every one of you as well. So do me the favor, smash that like button, subscribe if you are new. And I want to also shout out the sponsor of this video. And listen, no matter what sport you're watching, there's no better way to make the action more exciting than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players, projections, and build lineups in a few taps. Whether it's football, baseball, or another sport you're into, Prize Picks gives you a fun way to stay locked in on every play while you're watching. And to get started, they're hooking you up with a $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup when you use code HMA. And you can see I like the great rookie, right? I like Khan, I like Bam, and I like Devin Booker. Taking those guys on the points overs, I really like that. And then when you get into matchups, I got to take that hometown boy, Scotty Barnes, right? You know it. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Link is in the description below. Again, shout out to Prize Picks. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate each and every one of you coming through. And don't forget, Mock Draft Monday next week. And then on Tuesday, me and Neil's annual, what's it going to be, like the 6th annual 3-round hand-selected mock draft for y'all? Man, and we got the content coming for you. I'm still deciding on a 6 big board. I might put up a poll to see what y'all guys are feeling, because I'm really coming down between on that 6 big board. Do we want quarterback, or do we want tight end, or do you want tackle? Right? Let me know down below for a 6 big board. Would you want quarterback, tight end, or tackle? For all you Patrons and channel members, don't matter for y'all, because you get all of those big boards on Patreon and on for channel members on YouTube. All my big boards get released. The ones that don't make the video cut get released to Patrons and channel members. So if you're interested in how I rank the 2026 NFL draft class, or any draft class moving forward outside of what you see on YouTube, Patreon, and becoming a channel member are the ways. And you also have access to 3 takes and all the information I get behind the scenes regarding the draft and throughout the season, etc., etc. So again, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch each and every one of you on the next one. Fins up all day, every day. Appreciate y'all.